Welcome to Lobster's list for August 21st, 2012. Number 1. Pluck is a top-down shooter with levels randomly selected from pools of levels. Each game world will have you progress through a small, medium, then large-sized level before confronting a boss. After defeating 3 worlds, you confront the final boss. In addition, there is also a survival mode where you must defend children from waves of hostiles. The target platform is PC with the possibility of supporting Mac. You can get a copy of the game for $10 with your name and an appropriate picture of your choice put in the credits. It is seeking just $300 as its minimum goal for audio costs like music and setting up a website. Some of the things I liked about this is the look of the levels, small details like those on the walls, and the scale of the player character within them. I also like how it presents a spirit about facing difficulties. Number 2. Chivalry Medieval Warfare from Torn Banner Studios is trying to simulate the experience of medieval melee combat from first-person and third-person perspectives. Behind this is the developers of the Age of Chivalry mod for Half-Life 2. Multiplayer battles will support up to 32 players. This time it is using the Unreal Engine instead of the Source Engine. For $25, you get a copy of the game. I am more familiar with the Mount and Blade series than I am with Age of Chivalry. The brutality seems more tangible with this new game, and the graphics do look better than the more recent Mount and Blade games. Number 3. Prey for Dark from Valor Studios is a first-person shooter set in a 1930s architecture-inspired world. A man named Angel was imprisoned for a murder he did not commit, and given the option to be sent down into the sewers beneath the city to kill monsters. The game was inspired by an oil painting from the artist Brom. That artist actually launched a project today called the Art of Brom that has already passed its $12,000 goal. I'll also link to that project in the description. It features support for 5.1 surround sound, and that appears to be tied into the game design as at least one type of enemy uses echolocation. The platforms it is targeting are PC and Mac, with Linux as a stretch goal. By contributing $15, you can receive a copy of the game, its soundtrack, and your name listed as a backer on their website. This is the first campaign I've seen with a rewards catalog that lets you pick and choose if you've backed at $35 or higher. I'd like to see Bro Team on YouTube go crazy about the amount of sewers in this game. The 3D modeling of the protagonists and enemies also has a neat style. Number 4. Tales of Illyria is an RPG with mechanics partly inspired by the classic Apple II game Oregon Trail. A previous game from the project creator was Legends Arcana on Android. Control a party traveling across a kingdom while dealing with attrition from the journey like thirst. You can rebuild your party when members fall as long as the main character is not killed. Combat is turn-based with melee fighters at the front ranks. Reserved melee fighters and range units can be kept at the back. This game is being developed for PC, iOS, and Android. An $8 pledge tier has a copy of the game, while a $20 pledge will get you planned future content. One issue I see with this game is that the art doesn't seem to fit into a uniform level of quality, but that could be fixed for the final release. In the past, there was a successful campaign on Kickstarter for a zombie apocalypse-themed parody of Oregon Trail called Oregon Trail. I quickly looked to see if there were any games already out there combining Oregon Trail with a medieval fantasy setting, and didn't find one. There was even a topic on the Good Old Games forum searching for the existence of such a game. Now on to honorable mentions. Tenra Bansho Zero is a project to finally publish a complete translation of an influential Japanese tabletop RPG from the 1990s into English. The setting has a fantasy version of the Warring States era of Japan that also includes cybernetics. There are 2 books, a rulebook and a setting book. At the time of this recording, it has already met its minimum funding goal. You get both books in PDF form for $13 with your name listed as a backer. The physical book set is available at the $55 tier. I find the art from Junichi Inoue to be really excellent. I'd also like to note that the project creator has backed over 60 other Kickstarter projects. Combiform is a video game console with controllers that use magnets to link together for various gameplay gimmicks. This transforms an iOS device into the console, and you use an HDMI adapter to plug into an HD TV. Each controller has a thumbstick, 4 buttons, motion sensing, and LED illumination that supports multiple colors. You can pre-order a 4-pack of the controllers for $99. Add $20 to your pledge if shipping outside the USA. Since the controllers are using Bluetooth, I wonder if someone will eventually sync them to an Ouya console. Tek Tactical from Type 12 Games is a free-to-play, side-scrolling shooter for web browsers featuring customizable weapons. All backers will be named in the credits. You can help beta test the game at the $3 pledge level. $5 lets you play an ad-free version of the game. There are multiple playable demos linked to from the project page, which is a nice touch. For example, demo number 3 showcases how many enemies the engine can withstand, cluttering the screen. Another demo, number 2, showcases the potential gore. SharQ II is an arcade shooter about penguins fighting against rocket-powered sharks. There are 2 modes, one where you seek out a specific shark to destroy amongst the other sharks, and a survival mode. It is seeking to raise $2,000. You can get a copy of the game for Android for just a $1 pledge. The $5 reward tier adds a limited edition in-game pet that will follow the ship you control. Borealis is a game where you must guide the incoming missiles into each other instead of shooting them down like you would in a traditional arcade shooter. There are 3 game modes and 11 environments. Each environment will have its own twist on gameplay. As well, the game's soundtrack involves some procedural generation. The funding goal is $560 to pay for hosting and software licenses. You can get a DRM-free copy of the game for PC at the $5 tier. A stretch goal is to port the game to the Xbox 360. Pinball Arcade, Star Trek The Next Generation from Farsight Studios is a project to accurately preserve the 1993 pinball game in a video game form. There was a previous successful Kickstarter campaign from this project creator to digitize a Twilight Zone pinball machine. The process involves the restoration of a pinball machine, then it's taken apart to digitize each part, and the ROM from the computer that operated the original table emulated. The physical table is also used to tune the behavior of its virtual copy. Target platforms include PC, Mac, iOS, Android, Xbox 360, Wii U, PlayStation 3, and more. You can get a copy of the game at the $10 tier. The history lesson about the uniqueness of the TNG pinball game at around the 3-minute mark in the pitch video was an interesting watch. This project has already passed the 50% funded mark of its $45,000 goal. MNEMOSYNE, subtitled What If You Could Explore Someone's Memories, is a short film project. This footage is from a visualization trailer, and the final film will be live action with funds needed for the visual effects. An important leader is dying, and his selected successor must use a machine to explore the leader's memories for the reason behind that selection. For $5 you get thanked in the credits and a behind-the-scenes photo unique for each backer. The $10 tier adds a streaming of the final film. I was impressed by the trailer on the project page, and the premise is solid. Having such a trailer is something I'd like to see a lot more film products do in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps those projects.